How exactly does the "no animals were harmed and during the making of this film" disclaimer at the end of movies actually work? The "no animals were harmed" badge is something that gets decided on and handed out by an organization called American Humane. They are meant to act as a kind of third-party review board for films. As for the Chronicles of Narnia movie, it's because according to AH, while yes, animals had injuries, none were severe and none were caused by intentionally mistreatment, abuse, or endangerment. Basically, animals and humans get hurt on accident all the time. They hurt themselves on accident all the time. You will never be able to prevent all injuries. A horse stumbling on mud and spraining an ankle isn't the kind of harm that American Humane is trying to prevent. The same way if a human actor cut themselves with a knife while eating breakfast before filing, that doesn't mean the filming of the movie is unsafe. A friend of mine used to work for American Humane as a film set inspector. Anytime they were shooting a scene including animals, she would be sent to the set to observe and inspect the animals' accommodations and treatment. Paying for this service was mandatory if the film wants to display the disclaimer. They have an animal welfare supervisor on set, and if they think the injury was purely an accident, they can still certify it. If they think the injury was due to negligence or deliberate, they can refuse to certify it. It is kind of a strange disclaimer. It doesn't necessarily mean that no animals were harmed, but rather all steps were taken to prevent animals from being harmed, including having someone on set who is just in charge of animal welfare. There's a great factoid: when it came to Shawshank Redemption, it almost didn't pass and get the label because Brooks' crow ate a maggot on screen. The maggot had to be dead for the crow to eat it on screen. Side note: The Charge of the Light Brigade 1936 https://n.wikipedia.org Wiki The Charge of Light Brigade 1936 Film The Charge Sequence n.wikipedia.org Wiki The Charge of Light Brigade 1936 Film The Charge Sequence was where this started. They tripped over 100 horses for one scene, and as a result laws and rules were passed to protect animals in films in the US. The thing is, it should be something like "no animals were harmed intentionally." It mostly means that any animal actors were trained using humane methods, and not things like hitting or scaring them to get the desired reaction. It means any animal portrayed being harmed was not actually harmed. So you aren't watching people actually shoot deer, geese, or horses or dogs. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I've always interpreted it. People are okay watching that shit because they know it's fake. If it's real, people will react differently. No raccoons or tree creatures were harmed during the making of Guardians of the Galaxy, nor during the making of its sequel, Guardians of the Galaxy, Vol. Roman 2. However, the same cannot be said of the wranglers of said raccoons and tree creatures. I read somewhere in the movie a river runs through it, that the scene where they were cleaning fish with a knife, that the fish was a fake one they used for the scene. The disclaimer is awarded by the American Humane Association, which monitors movie sets for animal welfare, but has been accused of negligence. Yeah, it's tricky, eh? The disclaimer means the aha was there, but accidents can still happen. Makes you wonder how strict it really is. Not quite related, but we once had to pay a vet $650 for the day to be on set and make sure a rabbit was okay. We also had to pay the rabbit a $400 rate and $500 usage fees. The rabbit was absolutely okay, but the vet on set spent a lot of her day telling us about how rabbits generally live to try and kill themselves. It is more of a bribe for that endorsement. What it means is no animals were deliberately harmed through poor practices. They used to do stuff like use tripwires to have a horse stumble. If an animal is shot in the movie, it was fake. No animal was actually shot in the making of this movie, or broke its leg, or eaten by a bear. Wait, someone let puppies get hurt. They must fucking die. They just made the list, Francis, but first real. I hope there is a serial killer of people who hurt animals or let them get hurt making a movie. Talk about a folk hero. Someone in Hollywood not being truthful? How shocking. You want to be sad? Read about Milo and Otis. The disclaimer means nothing and says nothing. Some films get it because they didn't damage the environment they shot on. Some films get it because they didn't actually have animals on set. Some films don't get it because AH has issues with the people making it. Technically, Stuart Little doesn't have one despite only actually have a few cats on set that were well taken care of, but the AH was having a dispute with a few studios at the time.